Alright guys, so in this particular video we are going to talk about document processing pipeline, and this is going to be your end-to-end flow here, right? So what I'm trying to mean here is like it's pretty simple, and that is how to get started with document processing. And when I say document processing, if you see around that, YouTube community and all over the places in the, even online community, you will see, various scattered documentation around that. And nobody is talking about that constructive structure of that, how to get started with, document processing itself. And when I mean here is, as you can see here in that, right over here, into that, I would say that in a screenshot or into the picture here, right? So this is where I'm actually, grabbing all the raw documents, which I'll come to that part later, like what these documents mean and what it is trying to, convey the message here, right? And basically you understand that you are going into any hospital and you are having certain claims which needs to be cleared from that insurance agency. But before that, discharge summary gets released from the hospital, you get plethora of reports which is in PDF format, let's say, or in the scanned copy, right? And as a soft copy you get that PDFs. Now let's say for those PDFs, hospital wanted to see that which of these claims can be accepted, which of these claims can be rejected, and which of these claims can receive the query. And that is where hospitals wants to predict that particular system. But before reaching that thing, right, so you want to digitize the system, and that is where document processing pipeline comes into the picture, because you want to make sense out of that particular document, what is written into those PDFs. And that is what we are doing all about here, right? So in this particular video, right, what I'm going to touch upon here is like we are going to receive a set of input which you can see as raw files. Let's say one claim consists of 8 to 9 different PDF files, wherein OT notes, prescription PDF, right, discharge summary, diagnosis, and all those reports, lab reports, consist one claim itself, right? And then when you put that into this pipeline, which you can see here is ingestion, right, which gets us started, right? So this is where your processing gets us started. And what happens here, you start extracting text from that particular the claim, and trying to make sense out of that by you seeing that you are putting this under that claims folder, this different one-to-one mapping, like for one PDF, one TXT file is getting generated, and that is going to put that meaningful text out of that there into those files. Then you are going to combine those claim text under one, because the reason being here is when you are applying the RAG for a particular claim, right, so you don't want to be spread over the files, because in that particular case what will happen, that chunking won't be proper, and that intelligence which is baked into that document, right, that won't come properly. So the idea behind this here is you need to make sense out of that those particular documents, and the best way is to make sense out of those is by combining all those documents. And that is what we are doing in the step 2. And that is where you will see that data which is getting processed is getting all these claims, like means all the text which has been extracted from these pieces, individual files, which you are seeing here, has been put together under one claim. And that is what all the knowledge base for one particular claim is lying here. So let's say if any user or any help desk user wants to query there, right, I want to do certain ask here, let's say what is the diagnosis for this particular patient, what is the pre-auth amount, who is the treating doctor, likewise. So you will eventually get to see here, right, into this particular document, and it is going to see for those chunks where this information is lying, and from there it's going to give you that answer, right? So that is what that you will be doing into the RAG scenario. But before that, you need to make your document in such a way which is noise free. It's like it's completely normalized, right? It's a plain text which is having all sensible data only, which is lying inside that particular document, particular text file. So this is the pipeline for that one, right? So if you see that the third stage is the clean text, which is going to clean combined claims, and of course this is going to normalize any spaces, reduces multiple blank lines. So idea behind this, it is reducing the noise from your document. I mean, it's only going to have the sensible data inside that which one can understand by looking at it itself. And when our engine runs on top of that, so it can also understands and make sense out of that one. So overall, running pipeline for this one, which is main py, is going to be your orchestration layer, by the way. So this is how this is going to be started. First of all, obviously environment setting path, understanding where this data is lying, then start processing this document, and then combining this claim text, and then what it is going to do is ultimately it is going to print the progress, right? And on top of this clean combined claims, which is this one, right? On top it's going to how many files it has processed, and then there is going to put together into that a structured clean claim text, which we are going to see that. And this is what will become our input for our RAG engine. So this is what we are trying to solve into this particular piece here. But before touching upon on all those aspects, let me introduce myself. Hi, this is Rahul here, although I'm a bit late to introduce myself, but I thought I can come later, but let the topic come first, right? So this is me, right? So let me just, a little bit do that, zoom in here, right? So this is me, Rahul Sahai, AI architect, cloud transformation leader. I'm also educator, content creator, and teaching, students or software engineers since a while. And overall, I'm having around 49k plus students, the learners on my Udemy stack itself, which you can see here. At the moment, I am also principal architect and leading the enterprise and cloud transformation, which is with that insurance company, which is this Niva Bupa, which is again a very big enterprise, which you might have already heard of. So primarily I do that like full stack architect, being .NET Java architect, and then cloud and expert as well into multiple hyperscalers platform. And then I'm also being this AI ML practitioner. Recently I've also filed my patent around that in the healthcare industry. I'm also postgraduate from IIT Madras in IIT in that applied machine learning program. And that is where I thought to bring you all this stuff together, so that to connect the dots likely which enterprise is expecting. And it is not like where I'm coming from, like as like a simple educator or a tutor, right? As in I'm just going to run through any demos as in slides. This is not going to happen, although till now I have only talked about that, the architecture diagram and myself. But this is all about me. I thought to talk about myself, and then after introducing myself, let's get started on that particular piece. So now, having said about myself, let's get started with our coding exercise, and which is about the building the pipeline. So here what I'll do is, so here, as you can see that I'm here in VS Code, and I'm just starting from scratch, right? And this is Stock Intelligence. This is just the folder where I'm starting. And what I like you guys to follow me as is like how I'm doing that. And obviously I'll be explaining in between, right? And what is happening. Although the flow I have already explained, but the basic expectation from you guys, like you are already knowing the basic Python over here, right? And I'm not expecting any rocket science here, so I'm just putting this disclaimer here, right? And let's get started. And the very first thing which we do is obviously to create that little bit of folders, right? So let's go ahead, and I would be having first as in data, then I would be obviously not inside data, right? I'm going to have like outside, right? And let's create this src, and from here I would be looking for our that one new folder which I'll be starting. Let's call this pre-processing, and then we can have like ingestion here itself. So I will create new folder. Let's call this ingestion. And what else we can have here, right? So we can also have like fields like when we are going to have is like we already have ingestion, pre-processing, and then to orchestrate this entire piece, right? Although I'm just touching about the minor bits here, right? So we can have one orchestrator, which is your nothing but your main file, right? So this is what you are going to have. And of course we will start from the beginning. We are going to with the bare minimum thing, right? So I'm just going to put here, and let me just also quickly put that requirements.text, and this is the place where I will be putting my that required files which I'll be using. And at the moment, right, which I'm going to utilize is for PDF processing. And or let me do one thing, right, let me put this entire piece here. And so at the moment for this particular module, I'm just going to focus on this PyPDF and PyPDF plumber. But once I will be doing this RAG and this API layer from Fast API and all, right, so I'll be utilizing all this like ChromaDB, Vector Store, LangChain, OpenAI and LangChain for my LLM modeling over there, right? And likewise Pandas for for playing with numbers, and Pedantic for schema validation. And this is for obviously to work with that environment, Python environment. And this is the thing which is very basic thing which you are going to get started with. And this Jupyter is something which is optional one. Let's say you like to play script by script, so in that case you can enable this Jupyter as well, right? But for now this is fine. And with that thing in place, like I like to get started with this installation piece itself, right? So I'm already having this UV installer. So what I'll just do here is I just need to install these pieces into this particular module itself. So let me just show you that. And obviously the very first thing is you need to activate this virtual environment and then get started. So what I'll just do here, I will first use this UV command, and here what I'll just do is virtual env. And don't worry about that regarding all this installation and everything, like how to install UV. You can install this using this PowerShell command as well, or you can Google that. Let me show you that as well. Like so you can just utilize this command. You can get this from the Google, like, because UV's installer which I'm going to use is at least 5-6 times faster than pip, right? And pip, which is package manager from Python, right? So this is on top of that, and that is what I'm just going to utilize here. And that is, since I have already installed this one, so I will skip that piece and I will go ahead with the virtual environment which I was talking about is with that UV itself. And I'm going to do this vn, right? So once this is done, then it is telling me to activate that. You need to execute this. So I'll just copy this and I'll just paste here so that virtual activate environment gets activated, and this is done, right? So now I'm in this virtual environment. So I'm in this virtual environment. What I'm just going to do here is I'm going to install this required dependency. And the way to do that is obviously you are going to use this installation, and I'm looking for this requirements.txt file, which is holding all the requirements to get started with. And let's just install this. And with that, you see that how quickly it's going. It also depends on the bandwidth, internet bandwidth which you are running on, right? So this is where this is going to be pretty handy with that one. And so all right, so this is done, and as you can see that all packages have been listed over here successfully. That means everything is in good shape to get started. So let me close this, and let me close this as well, right? And this is what you can see that I will share the GitHub link. So this GitHub link is already there in that, in the description you can find there, right? And from there you can just download, not only refer the code, you can also download the dataset. And this is how this individual claims is going to look like. So let's say this is set of claims which is I'm having as sample copies, right? And one claim consists of these many different reports, which is, let's say, claim form, discharge summary, hospital bill, lab report, doctor notes, pharmacy bill, pre-auth letter, TPA response, and OT notes. So if you just see that, like how this bills looks like, right? I mean this is how normally you are going to get this, right? And based on that, like of what kind of report it is, so how this structure is going to look like. So this is trailing around the same thing, right? And likewise this all bills, right, is having on that same lines, right? So this is what you are trying to extract that and trying to make sense out of that. And this is, let's say, we are having a set of 9 or 10 documents which you have seen already, right? So that is where I was coming through, right? So this I have, pasted here inside this raw. So this is what you have been given. So this is where, if you refer the architecture diagram again, so you will get to see that how this is structured. Now to get started with, I would just start with this ingestion, right? And here I would have be having, right, with that our ingestion itself, right? So let me just call this as a PDF loader, this file. And then let's get started. So here what we are going to do here. So the idea here is, its job is to load the PDF, right? And then obviously we will be combining the text and all, we'll be doing that. So the very first thing is we need to extract the claim ID. So I will be using some of the pattern matching here. So that's what I'm utilizing, this library. And then from path lib, I will be obviously needing this path information. So now for file piece, I will be utilizing this fits, right? And that is what it is. Now let's extract the claim ID. I would just say that extract the claim ID, which you are seeing that CLM starting with that. So that is what I am just looking for. So extract the claim ID, and let's have definition for that one. And this is going to be my helper method, rather. Extract, I hope I'm spelling correct, extract claim ID. And what this is going to take, that like your PDF path, and this is going to come as in path, and this is going to return me as in our string, which is going to be string rather, which is obviously we need to match first of all and look for the pattern. So what I'll just do here, I'll just use this research, and with that I would be saying looking for this, the suffix in the prefix which is having CLM, right? So this is the pattern which I am looking for, and that is what the pattern matching I am doing here with this, like, and with that here I'm will be just providing this, the PDF path, to stringify that one. And once this is there, then I would be, let's ignore this case as well, whether it's capital or whatever. So ignore case, and if match found, so let's have a quick guardrail for this one. So you would be returning that the groups for that one, right? And looking for that one, and just make it this upper itself, right? And that is where you will be returning that a string of that claim ID, right? So that is what I'm looking for, that, and that will be in that capital case itself. So that is fine. Now once this otherwise, if it is not, so what I'll be just doing here is I'll be just saying that return unknown claim. Now once this is done, so what I'm just going to do is next here is extract text from PDF. So that is where my method extract text from PDF will come, and this is again going to take this PDF path, and this is where I will be having returning this string. And now let's look at this text by page itself. Let's have one collection where I will be appending that, and again with fits dot open, you will be passing this PDF path obviously as document, and now you will be going through page number by page, and then you will be, you know, enumerating there. So I'll be going for page number and page in enumerate, and in this document, and let's have this starting index being 1, and inside I will be getting this page text, right? And this is where your page dot get text will come into picture, and you will be getting that, and then text by page, right? This is where you will be appending that, and let's have this string here, and let's make a new line. Let's put that page number here, and little bit of formatting likewise, and then have, let's say, page text, right? And with that I would be just doing this return dot join, and ultimately text by page, and let's strip off it, you know, to have this in clean shape, right? So this is what I have done here, is quickly created two methods here. One is obviously to extract the claim, and then the next is extract the, you know, text from the PDF. Now what I'm trying to mean here is, let's see that what is done so far. So this is pretty straightforward thing. Here we are doing pattern matching to just find this, you know, claim here, right? And that is where we are based on this PDF path. Let's say for these paths we are trying to find that if that is present, then we are returning that the complete full name, which is like CLM and all this. So what with this upper we are just doing here is we are just, you know, putting in this you know, uppercase. Otherwise we are returning this unknown claim. And then the second piece of method here is extracting text from PDF. So the PDFs which we have seen already, right? So from there we are trying to, you know, extract that text from that one, and that is this line, like you know, get text, which is happening is line number 19. So this is where it's reading. So for that being like, first of all, this is going, you know, document by document. Let's say document 1, document 2, document 3, likewise it's going, and page number by page number if it's going through, right? So that is where it is going to put that, okay, page number 1 being like, let's say, claim form, page number 2 discharge summary, likewise this is, and page text, and that is where this is trying to solve that one, right? And that is where, you know, it is going to say that, let's say page number 1 being that claim number, page number 2 being the hospital bill, page number 3 likewise this is going to print here, and then ultimately this is going to, you know, strip out if there is any leading spaces or anything which is there. So this is pretty straightforward helper methods which we are going to utilize here. Now the main thing comes is that processing of that. So let's come here and process PDF, and let me just close this to increase the canvas. And so what I mean here is with that I am expecting to get something like this, and when this gets, you know, processed, right? So in that case, like, we are going to have this something like this, like processed extracted test, and in that extracted test, like, it's going to create that your claim, and with that it is going to have something like this. So this is what we are trying to achieve here, and that is where I'm just going to create one definition to process this PDFs first, right? And let's call this a method, right? And what it is going to take, this your directory where it is sitting, right? So obviously you will be passing this path, and then we are going to have this processed directory which is going to have this path. And now going with that, what I'm just going to do is, let's say this is going to return me a list of path, right? And with that being said, now let's go ahead and create that. So the very first thing is our process dir, which is coming there. I'm going to create this make dir, and let's pass in parents equals true, and exist. Okay, let's say true. And then text output, I'm also going to get that. So text output dir is going to be, let's say, your process dir, and that is where you will be creating your you will be creating your hey, what's happening, extracted test, let's say, right? And then we'll be having this PDF files, and that is where I'm going to use this sorted to have this in uniform way to arrange the documents. And that is where I'm just going to use this raw directory, and let's search this here in that, with that extension being looking for this PDF itself, right? Makes sense. And once this is there, right, and so we also need to put this into an output files collection, right? So let's create one output files, and now let's go ahead and have certain guardrails over here. Let's say if not PDF files, right? Files, where is PDF file coming from? So let's make this PDF files. So we can simply print, stating that no PDF files found in raw directory, right? And we can eventually return from here, and I'll just say this output files. Otherwise, for PDF path, right, I would look through in PDF files, and here what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to group this, like group each PDF output by the claim ID found in the path, right? And here I will be using this, let's say, claim ID, and that is where my helper method extract claim ID will come into place, and I will be using PDF path, and then my claim ID, sorry, not claim ID, we need to create one claim output directory as well, and that is my text output directory, and then I will be passing my claim ID, right? So this is how the it should follow. And with that claim output directory which we have, so we can go ahead and do this make dir here to create the directory, and let's call this true. And as I said, like, I'm not going to explain the syntax because these are fairly simple things, and I'm expecting you guys know the basic Python, right? So that's the main disclaimer over here. And then I'm just going to have this output path, right? I'm just going to need this output path, and for this output path is going to be what, like, we are already having this claims output dir, and here I'm going to create one file. So let's call this, with that f string I would be using here, and let's call this what, like PDF path, and from here which we am getting here, so I'll be using this stem here just to make sure I'll get that the name itself without extension, right? So, and I believe yeah, so with that, and inside this txt, right? So makes sense. So with that we can create so this is what we are trying to create, right? This is what we are trying to create, right? And this can happen. So I'm just trying to extract that, right, from that PDF path, right? And then I'm appending this .txt in the end, right? So that is what which is going to happen. And once we have this output path created, right, so what we need to do is, obviously we can have one quick guardrail to check that whether output path exists or not, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So here what I'll just do here is, likewise, as a good developer, which you will always be checking if output path, first of all, this exists or not. So if output path already is existing, which means this is already extracted, and that is what I'm just trying to save the compute here. So what I'll just say here is pretty simple thing, like I'm just going to say that is keeping already extracted PDF, right? And that is what I would be saying, this PDF path dot name, and we'll be having this for that one as in claim ID as well. So let's print that as well, like for which one it has been processed already. And let's append that in output files dot append, and let's say this output path, and from here we'll be just continue, right? Otherwise we are going to extract text, and from here I'm just going to say that extract text from PDF, and this is being, let's say, PDF path which you will be supplying, and then you will be doing this dot write text, and from there you will be putting that extract text and encoding. You can apply that, and that being UTF-8. So once text extracted, so you are writing into that output part into that write txt, and that is what this extract text you are flushing there. And in the end what you will be doing is basically you will be appending, so this will create that collection for that particular grouping, right? So that is what we are trying to do here is, so this will be output path, and that is what it's going to be appended. So in the end we can just say that printf, let's say processed, let's have this pcaps, processed PDF path name, and here I can just say that claim ID, right? So this is processed, and then again printf, we can just do this, and save text to, we can just say that as in output path, and then finally what we can do is we can simply return files here, rather output files, this is we are having, right? So delete this. Make sense? So what we have done here is we are simply processing, and whatever is coming through from this folder level, right? So that is what we are taking in as an input. We are going through, we are creating this extracted text, so that this will be created here in that folder itself, into that data level itself, and we are looping through, and first of all we are checking if it's already extracted, first of all whether PDF file is exist or not, right? And then inside PDF files we are grouping each thing with the claim ID itself. Under that claim we'll be having different text files which is going to be created and as an extracted text, and that is what in the line number 41 we are doing. we are here creating the directory for that one. And if it is already processed, that file is already processed, so we are skipping that one by putting only that in the name and into that particular collection. And then line number 48 is actually doing this extraction, which we have already created, extract text from PDF, which is the helper method. And then we are flushing this extracted text obviously into that line number 49, and finally we are appending into that collection, and then we are returning this output files, right, which is going to be your list of files, which is ultimately. Now the next piece here is as per, if you just come to that here, the flow here, right? So what we have done here is we have done with this ingestion piece, right, and this, then that, which is extraction, which is happening right now. The next piece which is there, right, is like combining that text. So let's do that next. And for that, what I'll just do here is I'll come here and I will start a different method, and we can simply say that combine claim text, right? And this is where we are going to come here, and we can go ahead with this one. So this is, let's say, combine claim text, rather text, and this is going to take your process dir, and I'm just going to have this path here, and let's return this list, and that's it, right? And here what I'm just going to do is, let's say, extracted text dir, which you will be looking for, and that is where your process dir will come into picture, and that is where like you will see like extracted text, something like that. And then I would be just having this combine output dir, which again I will be having process dir, and let's call this as combined claims. Once I have it here, right, so I'm just going to say that combined output dir, I need to create this directory, and likewise, and just checking if it exists or not. So that's it. Now let's have this combined files as in collection, right, which we are going to append that one, and that is what we are going to need here, right? And I'm just going to check that if not extracted, so if this guy doesn't exist, so I'm going to simply print that no extracted text, and let's say extracted text folder found in your extracted text dir, and from here you can simply return this your combined files. Otherwise, let's have this claims directory sorted, and this is for our convenience, which I am doing this sorted, because in my example you will see that this is how I am arranging that, and here I'm just going to use this comprehension. So let's say I will just go that path for path in extracted text dir, and here I'm going to use this iteration directory, and if path, and that is where I'll just first of all I'll just check for this is dir, right? And that is what I'm trying to get this claims directory from here. And once this is there, right? And you can write this in a normal way as well, right? Simply going for path in extracted dust and then trying to see that whether it exists or not, and then you can simply have return this claims directory. So that can be it can be rewritten into 2 to 3 lines as well, but since I'm using this shortcut from Python, right? So that is what I'm just trying to utilize this one as in more sorted way. And once this is sorted, right, so what I'm just doing here is, let's say if not claims dir, right? So I can simply say that print no claim folder, or rather folders found in, we can use extracted texture, and oops, and then what we can do is simply write return, what was that, combined files. Otherwise we need to look through for claims, or let's say claim, because inside that we'll be having this, yeah, for claim dir, in claims dir you need to look for the text files, which is again I'm going to arrange in sorted itself, and I'm just going to search here and search with that pattern. I am just going to look for anything ending with txt, right? And here if I'm just saying if not text file, if it does not exist, so just continue, and here we are going to say that output path, we need to create that one, right? So that is what I would just say, that combined output dir, and again I'm going to use this f string, and I will just say that claim dir dot name, and here I can just say that txt, right? And just a quick check which I will do here is if output path exists or not, right? So because that is where you are going to drop that one, right? So if output path exists, which means like this is already processed, so I'm just going to skip through that one. So again I'm saving this compute, because why to again process the one which are already processed? So saving already combined claim text, right? And that is what I'm saying here, and I'm just going to say that your output path, and unfortunately looks like I haven't used f string here. Now I'm just going to append here this output path, right? And then continue. So this is the same pattern which we have used previously. And now otherwise for text file I would just say in text files, right? And this is what we are trying to combine that. So here I'm going to use this, separate the document with the boundaries, right? So because we are having different kinds of document, right? So let's say we have here, you can see that there are 9 different files are there, and which we are trying to combine into one text file. So we should be having some kind of separator in place so that we can identify that okay, which one is which, right? So that is what I'm just first of all having this document, let's say text, let's call this way, and let's read this text file, and you're going to read that text, right? And with that text, obviously you will be supplying here, and what is this text file, and encoding, yeah, equals UTF-8, looking clean now, right? And I'm just going to drop one pattern here, and because I don't want to do typo here while writing, right? And this is just for, you know, separation, right? And that is what I'm going to, you know, utilize here, right? And so if you see here, so this is going to act as separator, like, you know, 80 times this equal to, and then the file name which is going to come, like which file it is, and then again separator, and then the document text which is coming here, and then again it's going to be separator, then again file, and then this separator, and then the document text. So likewise it is going through and having that all in one file, right? So that is what it is doing. And why is this guy complaining? Okay, we forgot to, you know, create that you know, file name for that one. So it's a good idea to, you know, not idea, we need to create that one. So let's copy this combined parts, and what we need to do here is we need to create that one. I will just use that, let's write like this, claim ID, and here you will be saying that directory name, and claimder dot name rather, right? So now this is done, and this is where you are actually, you know, going to put that, and that is what we are going to, you know, have that one. Now once we are going to have this one, right, so we need to, you know, return that way, right? And for that thing, what I'm going to, first of all, what we have done here is we are just appending into that combined parts, right? And this is obviously is a collection which is getting appended over there, and that is what we are, you know, putting that in place. But we need to flush it also, right? So that is where we are going to write that, and let's have like a new line all the time while appending that or joining that, and we are going to put that combined parts, and let's strip off anything unnecessary from that one, and usual bit encoding being UTF-8, right? Now what we can have is combined files dot append, and this is where your output path comes into picture, and let's have this print f string, and let's call this, you know, combined claim text created, and that is where your output path comes into play. And then ultimately what we need to do here is we need to return that combined files, right? And that being said, we are done with that processing piece, right? Now what we need to do here is, the next piece here is obviously we need to clean the combined files, right? And so that we don't have anything which is having that extracted noise which we have seen during here, right? So anything spaces, normalizer spaces, we need to get rid of that, and we need to have only this cleaned files, right? So for that, let's go ahead and implement that, and that is where my text cleaner will come into play. And let's go ahead and create that one, and that is where pre-processing will come into play, and that is where I will go ahead and create this text cleaner dot py. And that being said, here obviously I'll be looking for certain patterns, and then from path lib I'm looking to have this path, right? And I'm just going to drop a set of patterns, right, which we are looking for as a replacement, right? And that is what is the noises on the left hand side, which you are seeing is these are all while extracting from PDF. You might have already encountered that this is what, you know, this kind of symbols is coming into the text, and these are noise, and this is like a, you know, garbage value which can, you know, give issues while converting and having that RAG documentation over that, like when RAG is getting processed over the documents, right? So this is going to, you know, give certain bad results for that. So that's what we are trying to, you know, normalize this using this clean text. And that is where what I'll just do here is I'll just do a clean text method, and it will take a string, and let's go, it's going to return this a string. So its job is basically clean extracted PDF text while preserving that document structure. So it's going to, you know, clean extracted PDF text file while preserving document structure, because it should not also break the document structure, otherwise there is no meaning for that one. Now here we can have, let's say, cleaned text, and I can just have this text. And you might be thinking like that, why I'm not using this, guys, you know, Copilot and other piece, like, because, you know, while teaching, right, if I'm explaining something, right, so I always believe, you know, you should be giving your 100% outcome. Otherwise it will be hard, you know, to rely on the Copilot code, because what will happen eventually, right, you are thinking something, and if that is not in sync all the time, you will be editing the code, and you will lose that, you know, the actual focus there. So that's why while I'm, you know, myself investing time into learning something, I never switch on the Copilot. Once I get, you know, habituated with this one, understood each and every line of that, then I get inside this Copilot to, you know, to do that, you know, GTM or go to market quickly in Office, actually. Because what happens basically, let's say if you 100% rely on that, so what will happen eventually, like, you will complete your all the stories in time, but let's say at 2 a.m. right, something broke, right, and you get a call or you get a page, right, this is not working, right? So you need to know that where exactly you need to look for, right, and what could be the issue. If you are delegating everything to that, you know, Claude or whatever AI tools, right, so that will be a, you know, big problem. Anyways, let's continue here, right? So for here we will be doing text replacement. So I'll be just doing with this old value with this new value in, let's say, our common text replacements, and here I will be looking for this items, right? And with that clean text, I will say that cleaned text, rather, yeah, I would just say that clean text, right, dot replace old value with the new value, right? So once this is done, so what I'm just going to do here is, like, I'm just going to normalize for tabs or spaces, you know, without removing line breaks. I'm just trying to be more pragmatic here so that you can understand what is being done, and line breaks used as a structure, right? So we are preserving the structure. So I'll just say that clean text and I'll be using this, and in that I'll be this pattern which I'll be matching or looking for, and to avoid this red squiggly, or rather to fix this red squiggly, and plus here. And don't worry about this piece, like you can just Google that and you can get this entire syntax. So the main idea is whatever tab spaces is coming through, like this is, you just replace this with something meaningful, right? And then apply this clean text, right? And likewise, I'm just going to, drop my two other things, right? And that is where I'm just trying to, save any typing mistake, right? Because, if I are trying to large blank areas to maximum one line blank line, or remove trailing spaces, right? So this is what you can do, the split lines, and then you can ultimately join that and strip it off, right? So this is where you have done with this, clean text, right? And that is where you will be using this helper method in clean combined files, right? So now the next thing here which we need to create is to do that clean combined files, like clean every combined text file. I would say that clean every combined claim text file, right? So this is what we are going to create. So let's say that clean combined claims rather, and this time you will be taking this as a process dir as an input as directory itself, and then ultimately you will be returning this of path, right? So here, if you just see here what we have done, yeah. So let's say combined claims dir, we are going to have like process dir, and I'm just going to save that. This is what we are interested in creating, so combined claims, right? And then the cleaned claims, cleaned claims dir in process dir, and here I'm just going to say that cleaned claims. Now cleaned claims dir, I would be doing this make dir and again I'm creating this cleaned claims dir, right? And let's go have this cleaned files collection here, and in that I'm just going to say that if not combined claims dir exists. So I'm just going to say that print f string no combined claim files, rather not files, it's folder, no combined claims folder found in your combined claims dir, right? And here you will be returning your collection here, which we are having this clean files, right? Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to have this combined files again we are going to have this in predictable format, which I am going to utilize this combined claims dir, and here I'm just going to make a search for that one and for the text itself. If not, combined files. So I'm just going to say that no combined claim files found in combined claims dir, right? And then again we can simply return our combined files. So this is obviously the guardrails is pretty important for two reasons. First of all, you are trying any if there is something which is to avoid with the unhandled exceptions, and the second being is here to save the compute as well. If everything is fine, so let's go ahead and let's start processing. So I will be just doing this for combine file in combined files, and that is first thing here you will be doing is output path equals, let's say, cleaned claims dir, and you will be using that combine actually I have used this combine well, let's call this combined files rather than combine. Yeah, combined file dot name. Once we have this thing in place, so let's go ahead and check for that. If this guy output path dot exists, right? If that is the case, which means like we have already done the processing. So for that one, what I'm just going to do here is skipping already cleaned claim text. And I hope I am making sense. I am not sounding boring. In case of any feedback, please leave us in the comment section, so that I can improvise into the next video itself. And that is what we can do here, right? So now I can just append right, your output path, and then continue, right? Otherwise, this is the main thing which is happening here. Raw text, well, you are going to call this combined file and dot read text, and that is where you will be passing this encoding equals, let's say, UTF-8 and then I would say that cleaned text equals, let's say, clean text, right? And that is where raw text will come into place, and then you need to write that output files dot write text, right? And you will be writing this clean text with that encoding being the usual bit UTF-8, and then you will be doing this clean files dot append, and that is where your output path will come into play. And finally you will be printing that one, clean claim text created, and I will be having eventually output path, and then ultimately return that clean files, right? So we are almost done with all our process, which is in terms of this one. Now this, from this pipeline perspective, we have created ingestion, we have created combined claim text, then we clean that. Now it's the time for the orchestration layer, so let's do that here. And for that I'll just come to this main pipe, and let's start combining this. So the very first thing, you need to import all the required bits here. So I would be doing this from pathlib import path. Now from source dot ingestion dot PDF loader, you will be obviously needing this import combine claim text and process PDFs. Once that is there, so we are also going to need that from source dot pre-processing, we are going to need this text cleaner, right? And we are going to need that clean combined files, right? Now let's have this definition get going. And with this definition being so, right, so here what we are doing is, this is your orchestration layer, right? And that is where what we are just going to do here is, all right, so let's continue here. So the very first thing we are going to do is like project root, we are going to resolve to that particular directory, right? And that is where we are going to look for that for the path. And so I'll be looking for this file and trying to resolve it to the parent so that I can get to that required piece, like what I'm looking for. And that is where the next agenda comes here, is looking for the raw directory based on the project root. And here I will be looking for this data and then /raw, right? Then processed dir being your again project root /data, and let's call this processed, right? Processed. Spelling, is this fine? Yeah. Now what is your step one? Now step one being that you need to extract text from each PDF and save one text file per document, and that is what we have done, right? So let's have one logging statement, and that's very important and very good. And you see that I actually freeze this Copilot, but it started coming here. That's what I'll again freeze that one. So this is where we are going to start with this starting that ingestion, right? So I'm just going to say that starting PDF ingestion, and there I would be just having this output files, and let's call this, what was that, process. And you see process PDFs, right? And I will be passing raw directory as in your raw directory, and then let's say process dir as in your process dir, right? And once this is processed, I'm just, as part of confirmation, right, I'm just going to print that here this PDF ingestion, right, completed, right? And we can say that files created, and we can simply do one len here, right? So len, right, of that output files, right? And this is quite a confirmation, and that's why I always use this print message as not only for logging, right? So this can you know, your actual project, you can extend this to log into your you know, into that outcome files as in. So this can also be utilized as an audit purpose. Like, so for audit purpose, we are going to see that next piece, that how it actually happens, right? But let's complete this orchestration layer. And what is going to be in step 2? So here we are just going to combine all document, you know, text files that belong to the same claim. You see, just trying being pragmatic, so that you guys should not be feeling, you know, overwhelmed like what is going here. So I'm just going to print that combining claim documents. Once that is done, right, so I'll just say that combined files equals, let's say, combined claim text, and that is where you will be passing this process dir. Once this is done, we are going to eventually print this message, and we are going to say that, let's say, you know, use this f string, and claim document combination, you know, completed. And we can also say that files created, again being that we can simply say that len of the combined files as a confirmation, which we can print that one. Then what's going to be your step 3? So step 3 being like you know, clean the combined claim text so that it is easier to chunk and query, right? So here I'm just going to say that print cleaning combined claim text, right? And I'm just going to say that clean files like clean combined files. I'm just passing in this as in process dir, and right, and then I'm just going to print that, and text cleaning completed. I would say that files created, and that being said, you know, you can have again len of, let's say, clean files, and finally the usual bit, if name, you know, being looking for main, so you need to call this main, right? So we are done. One thing I'm missing here, right? I should be, you guys already knowing that, right? So to convert this folder as a module, right, as a package, right, we usually put that init.py and .py, right? So this is done. I can quickly copy the same thing. I will copy the same thing and I will paste this here as well, because this is from that, if you see that from that earlier versions of Python, like if you don't put like, so this may complain, right? And we already have this main file created. So now let's see that. Let's quickly open this and I'll come here. I'll just do this CLS and simply doing this Python main.py, and let's see that what happens here. And interesting. And let's see this here. If I did, oh, this main has come inside, right? So this should be likewise. And let me just delete this and let's come from here, right? Now this is fine. And if I just do here, so let's do this CLS and one more time. You see this started processing quickly, right? And after that, claims directory, blah blah blah, sorted. List has no attribute glob, right? And let's see that where this is complaining. And let's first sort this out, right? So this, we are in PDF loader and it says that that list has so not claims, this is claim, right? And eventually this got processed as well, right? So extracted, and you see that the extracted one is coming like pretty good. And this got started like the combined one, and this is generate. So what I'll just do here is, let me just get rid of this extracted as well. We'll come to that one. And eventually this combined claims as well, or rather we can get rid of this processed as well. Let's just start from scratch, and I'm hoping that this issue is fixed. So I'm just, let me come here, and looks like this got stuck. Yep. So now let's give it one more time this, and let's see that how this is coming this time. You see starting PDF ingestion, and that is getting, and this is getting processed, and everything is writing that, and this is what we were expecting. And this is the combined claim files which is also being generated, right? So what we have done here is, from this raw which is having this PDFs, right, first of all we created this process. Under that we created this extracted text, one-to-one mapping, you see that. And here what we done here is, like, while doing so we extracted this claim, and every file has been put together under this. And this is when we say as one-to-one mapping is like as in, right, as in this, like PDF mapping is to that text file. And once you open any of these, right, you see that, this is how this has come. And that is where you will eventually see that at some places some kind of tab spaces or that noise is there for different set of different kind of icons which we have to replace that one, right? So that you can see. And once that is done, right, so that is your first part of that processing, that is nothing but your processing the PDFs. Then you are combining that one, right? So what you have done here is you have combined that one, and here looks like we did some mistake because other files has not been generated, and that is something which we need to see, that why this has not generated the other files and why it has only generated one file. So we'll see this output appending, but we'll come to that one. And then the cleaned one is also has processed only one. So let's see that where we are doing mistakes. So what I'll just come here is I'll come to my PDF loader, right? So that is where we are combining that, because in terms of combining, that's having the issue. And let's see the issue, and I think we know the issue, right? And let's collapse one by one, and let's come from the bottom, right? So let's collapse this for loop, let's collapse this as well. So you notice the problem, right? So the combined files, written combined files has been coming here, right? So this should not be the case. This should be for your this one written for this method, right? So now if you collapse this one, so this is fine, and this should be likewise. So this should process me the remaining ones. So with that change in place, and this happens like while coding, right? So which you're doing, right? So at least you are understanding, right, where it's failing. So let's process this, and at the same time you can see also like the method is skipping, which we have put the guardrails, and you see that files created 44 skipping all these things, right, which is already processed, right? Claims document completed 36, you see this the cleaned and that combined claims. So now this is processed, and if you see the cleaned ones, right, so this is our separator for that. Let's say now the lab report, now the very first one being something else, right? So you being the claim form, right? So that is how it gone through, and one by one putting that meaningful way the separator, like which means what, and that is how this is putting here, right? And this is what it's making sense, right? And that is what, when you are trying to put that for that RAG pipeline, so this is what it is going to make sense, because for one claim one file is there, so your pipeline can crawl over this file and try to fetch the required text from there and try to come out of the meaningful information. So if you see that what we have done so far is we have completed this pipeline, which is now your AI ready. That means when I say as AI ready means this as you can present to your RAG pipeline, which you will going to see this next, and that is what I wanted to talk about that. So now let's come and discuss about this particular the code repository from which from where you can download, right? So this is you see that I have created 8 module pipeline here. So this is the one which we are seeing here is the project setup and the preparing for document for RAG, right? So this was that document processing which was going through. And anyways, like I also have one other piece here, which is this one, which is only having this branch, which is the one which we have seen, right? And it has also got the complete details and everything in here. Now let me explain you that the complete pipeline here, right? So if you see that this is the complete pipeline, and here you will see me doing this complete activity here, right? So this is going to be your AI document intelligence, which you are going to apply this RAG engine agents, which we are going to do as rule based agents and LLM agent. That means that AI agents which you are going to build on top of that, and then you are also going to extract ML ready data. That means the CSVs which you are going to create that, so that will be used into the ML ops pipeline. And that is the whole agenda for this one. So in case if you guys have understood that, so this is what I have created, a complete fresh course on Udemy, right? So which the link is here as well, and the link is also there into that description. in the video description itself, right, in YouTube, which you can refer. So already I have mentioned my coupon link here, right? So you can get the discount for this 12 hours of course, and this is pretty extensive, right? And here you will be making this complete pipeline as an enterprise ready, which any enterprise is expecting to have from you guys as a deliverable on day-to-day basis, right? So you be in any field. So here I have done this capstone project for healthcare analysis, but you be in any field, any department, right? Whenever data is getting involved, where unstructured data, and you need to make sense out of that, like, and that is what is the maximum demand is in today's time, right? With that complete end-to-end solution, right from PDF to ML ready data. And then there is a second bit of that which you will get to see into that at the end of the course of this one, right, which is that creating MLOps pipeline. That is also right from the scratch. That is also having 14 hours of course. So this is where you will see this end-to-end flow. This is the architectural flow, like how this flow is going through. Like we have done till this bit in this particular video. Now from there, from the other module, you will be bifurcating into this. First of all, you will be doing chunking, chunk validation, embeddings, vector store, so that RAG can make sense out of that. Then agentic AI layer will come into place. At the parallel thing, you will be also doing this structure claim extraction, pedantic schema validation on top of that everything is in good shape and there is nothing is breaking, right? So in that particular piece, this is going to come handy, and that is what it is going to come into picture, right? And that is where you will see that you will be creating this ML ready CSV data set, wherein you will be also applying all the data quality checks, data dictionary, processing summary. So you will get to see each and every bit that how you will be doing that query planning, LLM tool selection, and all this guardrail safety checks, because your agent shouldn't be updating or deleting any record. So these are pretty important bits which any enterprise tool is going to expect from you guys, right? So, and also you are going to save the tokens by putting all the guardrails in place, right? And finally you will be applying this final natural language answer. So that is that bit which you will be doing here. So this is what I wanted to show, like, and that is what that here you can apply that one, and you see that this readme file is pretty extensive. It talks about from scratch how to get started with this one, how to continue with that one, and how you will be, which folder means what, and how you will be getting started with Q&A session, and what you should be asking, and what you can be trying with that, and how that is going to a fast API is also going to come into picture. So with this, what I like to discuss here is one more bit, and let me just show you that the finished project as well. So here you see that this is the dashboard, which is the React dashboard, which is going to be the final bit of this particular project which you will be creating here, right? And that is what that it will come to like this, like, because here you will be wiring up which each and every bit of information which you will be creating in this particular course. Before that, you will be having this fast API a bit, because this API is going to talk to your underneath that your layer, which you are going to be that building that RAG layer over there, and all ML agents. And because this is with that itself, it's going to talk here. So you can eventually try any of this, let's say get claims, right, and try out from here as well from that, or you can, so here you are getting all the responses back which you will be processing, or you can try from that particular from this pipeline itself from here as well, like from the front end dashboard. So let's say for RAG pipeline, you are going to ask like to that particular patient, like what diagnosis mentioned in the claim document, right? So for any of this document which you can pick here, right, and then this is going to give you like what diagnosis it was mentioned, like, and this is document Q&A. But by that time, let's say like here you like to make it more grounded in terms of dynamic query assistant, so wherein agent needs to come here, right? And that is where, so these are a few examples which I have given as a facts which you can utilize here. So you will be trying to you're getting to know that how to build entire system and connect the dots here. And that is where you will be seeing, like, this is one of the sample question, right? Or you can ask any of the questions which is related to that particular document itself. And this is, you see that final LLM is coming into picture, and this is saying this is one claim, there is one claim rejected with the claim total of this much, 1 lakh rupees, and the claim ID is being this one, and associated policy number being this. So this is relevant for any front office guy, and this is the information he's looking for. And here for developer perspective, you see that what happened here, what kind of filters has been applied, what it has, total claim amount greater than value. This is what I'm looking for, and this is the complete query plan. It's the dynamic query plan which it is constructing in the behind the scene. So this is what you are going to see that, and this is just a snapshot of that, like what being settled, what being rejected, and like how this is that amount has also been put up. And this is pretty important, agent audit trail, like what is being allowed, blocked. Like there was a question for, like, trying to delete some of this record. So this has been asked, like, so in that case what will happen eventually, I can only read and analyze claims data set. So this is my guardrail which I was talking about, like you are not allowed to do any update or delete things. So this is one of the crucial things which I have seen in many projects. Developers got missed on that, right? And that is where the actual problems happen during testing, and sometimes during production as well, if that didn't get tested properly during the test life cycle. So now let me show you the code for that one, right? So what I mean here, right? So if I just come here, right, and show you the code, right, you see that complete directory structure. So this is the API via which you are talking about, and that is where your docs swagger is coming. Here is the complete orchestration layer, right, and every chunking, orchestration, and every bit which is happening from this orchestration layer is getting done here. And you see this, the guardrails which we are already having, like basically we are skipping the computes rather than processing is multiple times if it is being already processed. So these are certain best factors, right? And if you see my other bit here, so this is where my front end, which is being your React dashboard, which is running, and that is what npm run dev command which you will be running through. And likewise, this is your UVcorn app, which is running and hosting me, right, this API. So this is what is coming into play, and that is where this entire logic, like extraction, ingestion, pre-processing, RAG. Inside RAG you have chunk loader, QA pipeline. QA means like question and answer rather than test and QA. And then the vector restore, where is your chroma piece is coming here, and then the validation piece. So here you have also going to take care of from the data perspective, which is being there are many sets which is having, let's say, you need to give a summary of the report. So you don't need to talk to that document in that particular case, and that is where agents come into picture and see that what kind of question is that. Based on that query plan, it is going to decide whether it is going to run the RAG pipeline, or it's going to route from that. Let's say it's going to see the CSVs, right? So if you see that, there is an output folder, right? So this is where it's going to read, and from this one also it is going to give you the result set. So these are your consider this as a cache folder which you are maintaining locally. So rather than going repetitively for the same question back to RAG, right, so it's always been said, right, so maintain this local copy so that you can save compute and LLM cost over there as well, right? So this is what it is completely doing. Apart from that, you can see that this is the claim dataset CSV which is getting ready for the MLOps pipeline, and this is what the CSV is going to look like, which any of data guy can understand, and that is what the main important thing here, right? So this entire bit you are going to learn from scratch in this particular course. So I hope I have explained this particular document intelligence engine in a very neatest way possible. And in case if you guys are interested in, right, so I would assume that you can you can enroll to my course. And there is one more bit which I wanted to talk here, right, and that is where is my LinkedIn, right? So I am also being that tutor. I have, as I said, right, I'm also, having this enterprise experience of 18 plus years, right? Which means like I come with, heavy experience, industry experience, and there are many people who are trying to reach me on LinkedIn to have mentorship, right? So in case if you have any career related questions also, which you wherein you would like to get in touch with me, let's say if you do the pivot to your AI and machine learning piece, or if you want to continue your current trend, and growth, if you're stuck in that growth pipeline itself, like you're unable to see your future and secure there, right, in your current organization, so you can definitely ping me on my Rahul Sai 19, and then we can set up some time. Obviously this is a paid assignment, right? So that is 1500 rupees per candidate is the one thing which I've been doing, and that is what meant for 45 minutes, right? So in case if you guys have any career related thing also, you guys can come here and check out my profile, and obviously ping me, and obviously I will be there to help you. In case if any there is question with that related to course and that which you are pursuing of mine, you can also ask that particular question. So this is it, like, and I would urge you guys to follow me on my LinkedIn channel, because here on daily basis I am sharing that all that technical insights which is happening, which I'm doing recently, so that you guys remain updated and quickly you can get the insight. Also any queries related to your technical problem is getting sorted more quickly here rather than any other platform. So that is what I can say here. Having said that, now let's get started and let's jump into that particular course which I was discussing of that. Thanks for joining me.